Yo guys, what's up? Today I'm going through my FPL spreadsheet for the upcoming season. Right, let's get into it. So, what the spreadsheet does is it takes the XG per 90, XA per 90, bonus points per 90, save points per 90 for goalkeepers, defensive contributions per 90 for defenders, midfielders, strikers. Takes into account fixture ratings, which I've calculated myself based on expected points data. And so these basically just tell you like how easy is it to attack against their first match, or how easy is it to defend against their first match, and then second match, third match, so on. And I've also got clean sheets at home, clean sheets away, and then it works out the amount of points that they're expected to get. So game at one, Salah 8.62, and then so on, and then totals them up at the end. Right. So we might as well just go for it. So to give you an idea of what it's like, you can see the top ones already. You've got Salah, Saka, Palmer, Haaland. You'd expect those. You've got Dango Watara, which, yeah, I know seems like ridiculous. He's like up there with Haaland and Palmer. But if we look at his data, 0.49 XG per 90, that's pretty good. That's higher than Palmer's. 0.27, again, that's pretty good. It's lower than Palmer's, but it kind of balances out. And then bonus points, not great considering the people around him, but oh well. And then expected save points, that kind of makes up for it because Haaland gets none, Palmer gets none, Saka gets none, Salah gets none, Dango gets quite a lot. Right, fixture wise, instead of looking at their individual ones, I'll just look at their total ones. Not great, but still. And then expected clean sheets don't really matter because in mid he only gets 1 point for each. And then these are his predicted points. So you may be wondering why there's such a difference between 8.20 and 4.53. But that's because in this match, he's less likely to get defensive contributions, but in this match, he's much more likely. So it's predicted him an extra 2 points for defensive contributions, and it's probably also predicted him clean sheets or a clean sheet point or like an extra goal few points or something like you know what I mean. It's basically predicted more for that match and then much less for that match, and then overall expect to get 38. And then value wise, which basically just takes how many points they're going to get minus the extra cost for that player, which has been times by 3, so it's weighted so that it has an effect on the value score. And when you've got Haaland on 10, which is low as anything, Salah 20, not great. Dango's on 33, which is actually, I believe, the highest out of all players. Look, if you see 29, we've got, that's probably the highest aside from Dango. I found 30 there. But yeah. So anyway, that's overall players. You then got Cody Gakpo, Cunha. Cunha's quite high despite moving to Man United. Marmoush, Ollie Watkins, Munoz, Murillo, and Burma. All right, so and Burma is quite a good example of someone that I still wouldn't go for despite how high up he is. Because as I think it was Let's Talk FPL pointed out, his XG per 90 is based on penalties, which he scored 5 out of 20 of. 5 out of 20, sorry. 20 of his goals, 5 of them were penalties, but he's not going to get penalties this year because of Bruno. So his XG is going to be lower. His XA will stay the same, but with lower XG, probably wouldn't be this higher up on the spreadsheet. So you've got to watch out for players like that, basically. I'll just scroll down so you can see. This spreadsheet will be in the link of will be in the description, so you'll be able to access it completely. You better see the entire thing, giving it away for free. Right, now let's look at some different positions because why not? So defenders, Munoz highest. He's definitely going to be in my team. I'll show you my team in a second. Murillo, yeah, high up. Nico, high up. Milenkovic, Van Dijk. Again, all these people very high on the expected defensive contributions. Tarkovsky's not actually as high as people thought. The reason that these three are very high up is because Forest's fixtures are ridiculously good. Look, 1.13, 1.14. So basically, what these do is they just times by the amount of goals, amount of assists, amount of defense contributions, whatever. It just times it by that. So if a player has a score below one, like Bashir Humphreys on the how easy to defend, then it will reduce it. And then if it's a score above one, then it will increase it. And then obviously if it's a score of one, then it won't change how many points. Like here. So 1.13, 1.14, that is the best we've got. Hence why they're so high up. They've got great fixtures, basically. And then a little bit further down, you've got Frimpong here. Lower than people would expect, but still, I think I'd go for him. His data I've put as unreliable. I'll explain why in a second. Basically, the way I've done it is if he's got minutes, say like Nico Williams, if their minutes is above 2,500, then I've put them as completely reliable. So it's A, as you see. And then if their minutes is between 2,000 and 2,500, they're as quite reliable. But thing is, with players that have transferred like him, they get notched down to data reliability levels to account for the fact that you've not really got much of a clue how well he's going to do because he's moved clubs. So that puts him in the unreliable category, which isn't great. So yeah, but just because his data is unreliable, that doesn't mean he's going to probably get less points. It could mean he's going to get more points. It just means we don't know, or that it's more up in the air about how many points he's going to get. So that's just less of a concrete value than these ones, which are much more likely, if that makes sense. So we'll have a look at goalkeepers now. So Allison, Ellison, Pickford, you'd expect them. Matt Sells, he's going to be in my team. As I said, Forest, great fixtures. Sells, good match save points. Not great bonus points, but don't really matter. No keepers have great bonus points. And so really it's just the clean sheets and the save points puts him that high. And obviously the fixtures. So yeah. And then I don't see why you'd go 5.5 for Edison, 5.5 for Allison, 5.5 for Pickford when you've got sales at 5. So that's just my personal opinion. Players like Stefan Ortega quite high up, but I know people will be saying, "Oh, he's not going to get games," obviously. But this spreadsheet does it based on the assumption that each player is going to play 90 minutes, which obviously is not going to happen. But you can think of it more as their maximum amount of points rather than their predicted amount of points. The maximum amount they can get, assuming they get ample game time. And then we'll just quickly go through forwards, as you'd expect, really. Watkins higher than Isak, mostly because of fixtures. Isak's are very bad. I'll try and find him. Yeah, 0.83, how easy to attack. That's really going to damage how many points he would have got. Meanwhile, Watkins is just above the average of 1. And so he beats him to it with 36 rather than 35. And then you've got Wissa, probably wouldn't go from now, and Burmo's left. And he's also linked with leaving the club. And also Brentford got a new manager. So yeah, I'll probably leave that on. I would go for Chris Wood if it wasn't for the fact that I've got too many Nottingham Forest in my team. I think I've got 3, in fact, so I literally can't have him. Mateta, like that pick. Jackson, I would go for, but he's banned for the first match, so that takes off. See how many points that takes off 5 of his points. So how many he'd actually get would be 27. So no, not really going to go for him. And a lot of people are saying they want to go for Solanke. I just don't see why. Like his XG compared to competitors is lower. Look, 0.52, 0.55, 0.58, so on, so on, so on. It's only Chris Wood should have got much lower, but that's because his fixture is so good. That's why he's that high up. So yeah, crap bonus points. Doesn't get any defense contributions, but none of them do. His fixtures are the only thing that's saving really. But that's still not enough to put him high up. So just don't go for Solanke. And then mids. A lot of these were already at the top at the start anyway, but there you go. I'll just give a little flip through. Casemiro quite high up. Not sure if I'd go for him though, because I don't know about his game time. Um, yeah, right. I'm going to get on to my team. So, right. This isn't actually my team. This was my team a few days ago. It's changed a little bit. So I'm going to transfer. Right. Um, so let's just put one of the filler players in, and then let's change you. For, oh, click switch. This is where I might. Why won't that move? Okay, then. Right. I'm gonna have to do this way then. There we go. Um, sorry about that. Let's swap him here. Trying to think if there's anything different. Um, yeah, this the prices are definitely off. I don't have. I would not be able to have this team and also have that much in the bank. But yeah, right. That is my team as it stands at the moment, ignoring the bench. Because I think I also had. Oh, I forgot to put Gahey on. Oh yeah, yeah. Right, so that's my team ignoring these two and being there. So we'll just go through it. Sells, as I said, best goalkeeper. Cheaper than 5.5 Pickford, 5.5 Allison, Edison. So you'd go for him, obviously. Munoz, outstanding last year. I actually had him last year in my FPL spreadsheet that I didn't put on YouTube, but I made for myself. He was first in my team, along with Chris Wood, who also did really good that year. Um, so yeah, but as I said, I think he was highest on the spreadsheet this year as well. But yeah, he massively performed last year. Glad I had him in. So yeah, highest on the spreadsheet. He has to be in there. Nico Williams, Murillo. Some people might be thinking, why is Murillo higher than Milenkovic? Well, it's all that for one, his defense contributions, and also bonus points massively higher than Milenkovic. Everything else is about the same because they're the same club, both defenders. And that puts him about 2 points above. And then Milenkovic's redeeming qualities is his XG per 90, which is higher than Murillo's, but it's still not enough to put him higher in the amount of points he's predicted to get. But yeah. So Nico Williams, very attacking, well, pretty attacking. Uh, good defensive contributions, decent BPS ish, and then good fixtures and great clean sheets. I don't know what it's with Forest and clean sheets, but they're banging them in. Frimpong, I kind of didn't want this one in my team, if I'm being honest. But even though it says 44%, that's wrong. His ownership's at about 26% last I checked. And so I've kind of got him in as an anti to go against risk. I'll explain why. Because, as I said, he's predicted 31, but it's quite an uneasy prediction. So he could massively go above that. And if 26% of players have him, I wouldn't want to risk not having him and then him going crazy. Like if he was lowly owned, I wouldn't go for him because then it would be a risk. But because he's highly owned, it's now a risk to not go for him because he's kind of a template pick and he could go crazy for points or he could just end up being average. But either way, it's risk adverse if I go for him, which is weird. Going for a risky player is now not a risky decision, but hey, Salah obviously has to be there, 50 points predicted. Saka, not well. I think I'll definitely have him, but if we just go to him now, he only played 1,763 minutes last year, so he's only unreliable. So he probably won't get that many. I feel like that's probably an overestimate. He'll probably get about the same amount as Palmer, but he's cheaper than Palmer. So he shouldn't be captain, by the way. Salah should be captain. He should be vice captain. Cunha. Now, a lot of people have put poor little Cunha in their avoid videos, which I'll be making one of those probably next 2 days or so. So look out for that. But they've not really given why. So from what I've seen, people have put him and Burmo as avoids, and they've both explained why Burmo is a massive avoid, and they've also just kind of chucked Cunha's name in there as well, but not really given much of a reason. Now, the reason I like Cunha is his XG is pretty crap and his XA is pretty crap. But his bonus points last year, he got 41. That's the second highest. And so his bonus points for 90 is nearly as high as Salah's. It's ridiculous. And then defense contributions, he's not bad. He'd probably get like maybe in 6 games, he'd probably get one game where he gets the two for that. Fixtures, I mean, yeah, they're not too bad. They're not as bad as people say they are. Look, that's barely below one, but they're not great. And then clean sheets don't really matter because he's a mid. But it's those bonus points. He's going to get 1.5 bonus points every game. That's 3 every 2 games. That is ridiculous. That's like an extra like assist every 2 games. So that's why he's so high up. And I don't really see much difference with him moving from Wolves, a not very good club, to United, another not very good club. And I think he'll play regularly because why wouldn't he? I'm not going to bench him for anyone. And mate, he could play. He could play striker. I don't know if he will. Hoyland's pretty rubbish, as I'll show you in a second. But and so is Xerxes, really. I mean, look, going forwards, aside from newly promoted, Hoyland's the worst one, and then Xerxes not much better. So he could play forward, but Man United fans have been saying he's going to play midfielder. So make of that what you will. But I'm going to have him. Dango, he's a must-have player. I don't know how he is like a hidden gem. No one is talking about Wataru Dango, but they really, really should be. So yeah, his his XG is ridiculous, and it's almost like I remember seeing it and thinking I've made a mistake. I'm gonna have to check it again, but it was the same again. And then I looked on another website to make sure that that website hadn't just got it completely wrong, and that other website also had him on really high XG. So he's just ridiculous. And then Gakpo. Um, my mate told me that I shouldn't pick Gakpo because when Rodrigo signs for Liverpool, he's not going to get games. So yeah, make of that what you will. But I find that to be quite unlikely. Realistically, they're not going to get Rodrigo. Sorry, Liverpool fans watching this, it's not happening. So Gakpo is going to play, and he did well last year. He put good numbers, good BPS, okay defense contributions. Not great fixtures, but it doesn't really matter because everything else is good. So yeah. Um, and then last one, Watkins. I find him to be quite good value. Uh, let's try and find him because why not? Ollie Watkins. As I said, predict to get not much less than Haaland, 2 points less than Haaland. Yet his value is obviously way better because Haaland's massively overpriced. Don't just Haaland's an avoid, massive avoid. Trust me, I'll be talking about him in my video, but he's a massive avoid. And Isaac, I wouldn't say Isaac's an avoid, but I probably wouldn't pick him. So yeah, Watkins is just he's just good. He's cheaper than both of these lot, so I'd go for him. And then Gahey on the bench. I think Gahey is a massively. I think he's priced wrong. I think he should have been priced at 5 mil. Him and Michael Keane are very cheap. Obviously, Michael Keane's never going to play, so I'm ignoring him. But Gahey will. He should have been 5 mil. 31 points predicted. And why is that? Good fixtures. Well, okay fixtures for defending actually. Good defense contribution, very good in fact. Decent bonus points, decent XG, decent XA for a defender. So yeah, he's just going to do well. And then clean sheets. They do better for clean sheets away than they do at home, funnily enough. But good for both pretty much. So gaze there. And that's mainly in case of an injury for any of these players, really. Now, in terms of in the bank, I don't have 3.5. That's a lie. I have about 0.5 probably. So yeah. Um, but that kind of concludes this video, really. As I said, spreadsheet, link in description, check it out. Trust me, it has saved my FPL seasons and it could save yours. And it's completely free. Maybe in 2 or 3 years when I make these spreadsheets, I might charge for them. So get the free one whilst you can in it. So yeah, that's all. Cheers for watching, lads. Yeah, see ya.